What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be doing a map tier list for the current state of Modern Warfare 3 at least. So we're just going to be going through, taking every one of the maps, and I'm going to be plotting them based on how good I personally feel they are. Of course, this is just my list, and it's totally fine if you disagree with any of these. It's just something I thought would be fun, and a lot of people were asking for it on Twitter yesterday, so I thought I'd do a video on it. So let's just dive right into this, and we're going to start off with Afghan. And honestly, I think Afghan for me is a B tier map in this. I used to consider it an A tier map, I think, in the original Modern Warfare 2. It was one of my favorites, but I'm going to put it B tier here. I just find it doesn't flow quite the same as back in the day, so that's why I dropped it a little bit. Derail, still an F tier map. It's always been an F tier map. I just don't like it at all. Estate, I don't think it's a top tier map, that's for sure, but I don't think it's horrible. I don't hate it as much as I hate Derail. I don't mind playing Estate from time to time. So I think it's a pretty solid D tier for me. After that, let's get into Favela. And this is a bit of a strange one. This is one where in the original Modern Warfare 2, it was easily A tier, maybe even S tier. But in Modern Warfare 3, especially in Domination, which is my preferred mode and where a lot of my opinions are going to be coming from here, the spawns just suck on Favela. They still don't play very well. And I just find the flow is horrible. The map itself is great, but the flow on this map in Modern Warfare 3, I am not a fan of. And as a result, I'm actually going to drop it all the way down to a C tier. This map could be so much better than it currently is. But as of right now, I really am not a big fan of playing it just due to the spawns. After that, we have High Rise. Always been an S tier map. I love High Rise. I might be a little biased on that, I know, but this is my list and I like High Rise, so I'm putting it as S tier. Then let's get into Invasion. And with Invasion, I don't hate Invasion, but I mean, that spawn trap on the C domination side is brutal and really hard to break out of. And even if you're not playing domination, even in team deathmatch, you can really trap people hard there. And as a result, I think that means it belongs in the C tier, at least for me. Then we've got Karachi. I like Karachi. I don't think it's an amazing map. I don't think it's a horrible map. I think it fits nicely in the B tier here, where it's fine. It's a good map. I enjoy it. And it's the same story with Quarry, honestly. I think it plays fairly well in this game. It's not one of my favorites, but it's perfectly fine, and I really don't mind playing it at all. After that, we have Rundown. And I don't think Rundown is terrible either, but I think it falls really nicely with Estate, where it's a map that I really don't mind playing from time to time, but I don't want to play it on a really regular basis. So yeah, D tier I think is very appropriate for Rundown. Then we have Rust, and this one's going to make some people mad. F tier. It's an F tier map for me. For 1v1s, it's an S tier map, 100%. I think this is an incredible 1v1, even 2v2 map. I think Rust is really well suited to that. But for 6v6, especially in Modern Warfare 3, it's horrible in my opinion. The spawns are way worse than they should be, even considering the fact it's such a small map. I don't expect spawns to be flawless on Rust. That would be ridiculous to expect. But even now, they're so much worse than I would normally expect for a map that size. So yeah, I'm throwing that in the F tier. I really don't like Rust at all. Scrapyard, love it. Great map. It was an S tier map before Modern Warfare 3, still an S tier map after. Then let's talk about Skid Row a little bit. And this is one of those rare cases where I actually like Skid Row more in Modern Warfare 3 than I did in the original Modern Warfare 2. I think it has something to do with the time to kill. In the original Modern Warfare 2, it was too easy to get melted on those really narrow corridors, and therefore it was often really difficult to get around the map, and the flow just didn't work as well as it does in Modern Warfare 3, where you can cross those lanes a lot more effectively. So I'm actually going to put this as a B tier map, whereas in Modern Warfare 2, I probably would have put this as a C tier. After that, we've got Subbase, and I don't mind Subbase. I think Subbase is just well suited to a C tier map. It's not amazing, especially the spawns. It did take them quite a long time to get them into a tolerable state, especially in Domination. The spawns were really bad for some time. They have been tweaking those, and they've got them into a much better state, but I'm still going to put Subbase as a C tier map. After that, we've got Terminal. I'm kind of tempted to put it A tier, but I'm putting it S tier. Part of that's just going to be nostalgia, I think, clouding my judgment a little bit. It probably belongs more in A tier for me, but no. It's got to be S tier. Then we have Underpass. I think that one just fits really nicely with Estate and Rundown. I don't mind playing Underpass from time to time, but I don't want to play it all that often. After that, we have Wasteland. And I remember before Modern Warfare 3 launched, I did a tier list like this, and I put Wasteland in D tier, largely just for variety's sake, because it's such a unique experience. But honestly, I really don't like how it plays in Modern Warfare 3, so I'm dropping it down to F tier. I think many people would agree with that and put it in F tier as well. And now we're finally getting into the original Modern Warfare 3 maps, or post-launch maps at least. So many of these will be remade, but they're post-launch maps. And Greece, I don't know. I see a lot of hate for Greece. I don't think it deserves a lot of hate, but I also don't think it's an S tier or an A tier map. I'm going to put that solidly in the B tier. I do enjoy that map. Next, we have Meat, and Meat is a small map. It's a chaotic map. Sometimes the spawns can get a little crazy, although these days I actually find the spawns are in quite a good state considering the size of the map. They're about as good as I would expect on a map this size, and for what it is, I consider it to be an A tier map. I think it's a great small map in this game. Then with Rio, I really like this map as well. I think it plays quite well. I think that definitely deserves an A tier spot. Spawns can get a little iffy at times as far as a little too spawn trappy depending on the mode that you're playing, but overall I find this map flows quite nicely and has some nice engagements on it. Then we've got Departures, and this is one of those maps where, again, it's kind of like a mid-tier map to me, maybe mid to lower tier, so I think C tier is probably where I'd put that. I think it belongs there. I really don't mind it though. Then we've got Stash House, and this is another case, just like with Meat. If you're looking at it for what it's meant to be, which is a small map meat grinder essentially, I actually think they did a really good job with Stash House, and if I'm looking to play in the small map playlist, I often look forward to this map. And therefore, I'm going to put it A tier. I know the spawns can get crazy, I know that is the case, but that's something that you expect out of a map this tiny. And as far as meat grinder maps go, Stash House has done really well, in my opinion. After that one, we've got Vista, and Vista's a map where when they first announced it, and we saw it in the blog post, I had really high hopes for this map, and aesthetically as well. I really like the aesthetics of Vista. But unfortunately, it didn't live up to the hype that I sort of created in my mind for this map. And as a result, I think it's a B tier map. It's not horrible. I do enjoy playing on Vista, but it's not quite the A or S tier that I was hoping it would be. Then we have Das Haus, and Das Haus has a bit of a spawn problem. I know it's a small map and spawn problems are to be expected, but spawn traps can get a little too crazy sometimes. And overall, I think it's just well suited to C tier. Honestly, I do like Das Haus in this version of the game more than the Vanguard version, largely just due to the theme and the lighting. I like nice, bright, colorful maps where it's really easy to see character models, and they did a great job with that here. But I don't love playing Das Haus, so I'm just going to throw it as a C tier on this one. Then we've got 6-star, and this one is my favorite map in the entire game. 100% S tier. I really, really enjoy this map. I think it's the perfect size for a 6v6 map where there's room to breathe, but there's always like constant action if you want to get in the action. And also each individual lane, it really plays unique from the other lanes. And I just really like the variety that offers. There's some great flank routes as well that you may not use all the time, but it's nice to know that they're there. And I find that enemies don't get spread out too much. Like, concentrated action is quite good on 6-star. And therefore, yeah, absolutely my favorite map in the game right now. Definitely S tier for me. Then we've got Emergency, and with this map, I know many people are a big fan of it. I don't think I like it quite as much as many. I think the spawns can be a big problem on that map, but they're predictable problems. So I always find, like, bad spawns happen, but if you're paying attention to your minimap, they're actually quite easy to predict. It is pretty easy to predict when someone's about to spawn behind you, like directly behind you on Emergency. So that helps things out a little bit. But I kind of don't like the fact that all 3 lanes have a really long line of sight covering those lanes, and snipers on this map can be a little bit too oppressive, I find. And it's not that I can't perform well on the map, I just find that it can often ruin the flow if you get a bunch of people sniping on the other team. So I'm going to put this as a B tier map. I know some people would put it higher, but not for me. I think B tier is a good place for it. Then we have Grow House, and I'm not a big fan of Grow House. I'll be honest, I didn't really love Sphere from Vanguard. I didn't think it was horrible, but I didn't love it. And then with Grow House, it's something about the textures and the models that they used. It's very visually cluttered, especially in the interior areas. And combine that with the darkness in some of the interior areas, I find picking out character models can be quite difficult, and I'm just not a fan of that combined with the general layout. So I'm actually going to put Grow House in a D tier. I really am not a big fan of that when it comes up. Then we have Tanked, and Tanked is one of those weird maps where I think it plays really well for some modes and not so well for other modes. Like for 6v6, I think it is a little too big for TDM. For Domination, for some reason, a lot of the fighting seems to take place away from the flags rather than on the flags, and I think that may be how they have their spawn points organized. It just sort of funnels people into fighting in an area that's not on the B flag for some reason. But for Hardpoint, I actually think Tank plays really well in Hardpoint, so I think it's deserving of a C tier spot because of that. Next on here, we have Checkpoint and Grime, which obviously at this point, we're still waiting for Season 3 Reloaded, where these 2 maps will be added. Perhaps I'll leave a pinned comment if I remember to come back to this once we get some playtime on Checkpoint and Grime, because I just can't share my opinion on that at this point. But now let's move into the Modern Warfare 2 maps that were brought forward to Modern Warfare 3. And Greenberg Hotel, I think it's a solid B tier map. I like the map. It's pretty good. It's not amazing, not horrible. Crown Raceway, I'm going to put that one more C tier, I think. I'm not a huge fan of Crown Raceway and how it flows. I don't think it's bad, though. It's fine. It's just not great, in my opinion. Dome, it's an A tier map. I think it's always been an A tier map. Not quite S tier, but not a bad map by any means. I do enjoy playing Dome, and I think it plays quite well in Modern Warfare 3 as well. As for Farm 18, I actually think the spawns have improved very considerably on this map compared to Modern Warfare 2. And with Modern Warfare 2, I'd probably put it more like a C tier map, but I'm going to throw it as a B tier map here. I think it plays fairly well in Modern Warfare 3, but I still don't love playing on Farm 18 all the time. Next up with Mercado, this one might be a little controversial. I'm not a fan of Mercado and how it plays on Modern Warfare 3. I think visually it's a beautiful map. I really like the visuals of it, but I don't like how it flows. I don't know if it's just the way that the lanes intersect. It's like we have a lot of perpendicular flow on that map. I don't know if it's maybe also related to spawns. I don't know what it is. There's something about it that I just don't like how it plays. It just doesn't flow the way I would like it to flow. And therefore, for me at least, I'm throwing it in D tier. As for Shipment, you guys know me. I don't like Shipment. Shipment is good for one thing and one thing only in my mind, and that is grinding things as fast as possible. And playing it for enjoyment is just not for me. I get nothing out of playing this map for enjoyment. Even though I can perform very well on Shipment, I lead most games that I play on Shipment, oftentimes by a very large margin. I just don't like that complete mindless chaos that it has. And when it comes to those tiny maps, you might be wondering, well, why did you put Stash House at A tier? I think Stash House just has a lot more interesting combat for a meat grinder sort of map, and I would much rather play Stash House over Shipment. But that just leaves us with Shoot House, and I think Shoot House is a great map. I think it was a great map in Modern Warfare 2019. Even though I didn't like that game a whole lot for multiplayer, this is one of the few maps that I genuinely enjoyed playing, and it still plays well to this day in Modern Warfare 3. I think it's deserving of an A tier spot. And there we go. That is going to wrap it up for my personal tier list for the maps in Modern Warfare 3, at least in the game's current state. Some of this may change over time as well. If they adjust spawns, for instance, some of these may move up or down a tier. And also, a big thing I didn't point out yet is this is really just off the cuff. And I'm sure with many of these, I could easily be convinced to move some of the maps up a tier or down a tier. But this is just the list that I threw together off the top of my head. And honestly, I think it's in a pretty good state. I'm quite happy with where things fell right here. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. First off, are there any maps in here that you just completely disagree with, that you would put on like the entirely opposite end of the spectrum? And second, what are some of your favorite maps currently in Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.